One thing maybe just to go sort of to the basis of like what international law is that states are sovereign. You know, we have this thing that Peace of Westphalia, and states are sovereign, and they're only bound by what they agree to be bound. So they conclude these treaties, and they only have to do what they agree to do in the first place. And the Paris Agreement itself, you have, I guess, a lot of obligations of conduct rather than obligations of result. So you have things that they need to submit an NDC, and they need to have a sort of transparency framework and things like that, but not how much a state needs to achieve per se. Um, yeah, one last thing maybe, that COP decisions themselves, so the decision that they come up with at the COP is not necessarily legally binding. It's more like a showing consensus of what parties think at the time. Yeah, so that's mainly the Paris Agreement, in the sense that they have obligations of conduct, in the sense like how they need to behave, like what things procedural things they need to do, you know, rather than they need to achieve 50% emission reductions, they need to submit an NDC, or they need to declare their emissions and things like that. And you know, I think I mean, I personally would say, yeah, it's definitely a problem. It would be good if we had net zero targets for 2045 or earlier. But I think the sort of architecture of the Paris Agreement goes really back to what was feasible at the time, you know, what the US could agree to, because they did not want to, it was never feasible for the US to get an agreement through Congress. So they needed something that they could just ratify like this without having it go through Congress. So it couldn't be something substantially new, because then they would never be able to go with it. So this is sort of like a compromise, I guess.